spoke to two families who feel so unsafe in their neighborhood. They're so worried about their kids outside playing, dodging bullets. And you might just wonder, well, why can't they just pack up and leave? Well, it's not that easy.
We selected Marshall Heights because of a number of different reasons.
Go, get it.
First, we wanted somewhere where our children would have access to green space. We also wanted a place that was relatively safe. What we're seeing now is just a community that is deteriorating from its core.
Delia Housel's security cameras captured this gunfight outside of her home in Southeast D.C. last summer. Her husband and 3 children sheltered inside as shooters fired at each other through the family's front yard.
You can see the fire from the bullet from the gun.
Was that the last straw?
That was the last straw for us.
While overall gun crimes are up citywide, Delia says she and her husband want to leave their home in Ward 7, where data shows gun violence and homicides have steadily risen since they moved in 6 years ago.
One option that we are really considering is whether or not we should move out to Maryland or Virginia.
It's a move she doesn't take lightly, especially as she serves on her advisory neighborhood commission. But escaping the gunfire and random acts of violence isn't that simple for Delia or many of her neighbors. Though she owns her home and could sell, the average rate on a 30-year mortgage is hovering near 8%.
So it would completely leave us house poor.
Delia and her husband count themselves lucky, however, because they do have the means to move. But the I-Team is hearing from other families in the district who say they're held back by a different set of obstacles, especially those in D.C.'s public housing.
And I just want them to feel safe doing the smallest things, taking the trash out, getting the groceries out the car. It's rough because you don't know when to duck and dodge from bullets.
News 4 first interviewed Ebony back in 2019 after an unimaginable pattern of events.
He was shot with an AK-47.
Her 2 sons, then only 12 and 13 years old, were both shot within months of each other near Kenilworth Avenue in Northeast. They both survived, but her 13-year-old, Roy Nall, was paralyzed from the waist down. Right after the shootings, Ebony told a News 4 reporter she pleaded with the D.C. Housing Authority to relocate her family. Watching the news report today, she says not much has changed.
Everybody can't afford to buy houses and live in a nice area.
And during that interview, you had said, I just want to move. I want to move to a safe place.
And I still do.
Ebony says D.C. Housing Authority did eventually relocate her family, but she says her new neighborhood in Lincoln Heights isn't any safer, and it's not wheelchair accessible for her now 17-year-old son, who struggles just to get up and down the stairs.
Now that I need a bigger unit that is handicap accessible, they're claiming they don't have that.
Ebony says she's doing all she can to make a move, but feels her options are limited. She said she can't afford market rate rent while also paying utilities and other bills families face. She applied for federal relief through the Housing Choice Voucher Program, formerly called Section 8, which could allow her to rent anywhere in the city. But she says she's been on that list for nearly 20 years. Currently, she is applying to D.C.'s Home Purchase Assistance Program and hoping it doesn't run out of money like it did in the last fiscal year.
I'm stuck here in D.C. trying to, make an honest living to provide for my children.
The D.C. Housing Authority's waitlist to access housing vouchers and public housing have been closed since 2013, and there's no scheduled time to reopen it. We wanted to ask the Housing Authority about the waitlist and some of the challenges it's up against when trying to move families out of public housing they don't feel safe in. They sent out their police chief, who couldn't talk to those larger issues, but offered this.
Residents are very concerned, especially if you were a victim of crime, then certainly you feel you're in crisis.
Yashim Sayan with the DC Policy Center, a nonprofit think tank, says right now there's just not enough affordable housing.
We've put a lot of money in housing, but government subsidies will never be enough to meet all the needs.
Yashim says the problem with those investments is where they're going.
It's cheaper to build these units in less resourced parts of towns,
creating what she calls economic segregation. We asked the chief about that, and he says the city is trying to do more mixed development and hopes the mayor's programs may help. Even though Delia's family hasn't found a new home to move to, they've begun packing up. It's not what they want to do. They love their community and would prefer to stay.
Let's go. Let's see what you have. You have to put your family safety first. And again, we're hoping that there are, with some of the new initiatives coming down the pike, that the communities will begin to be safer. It's just a matter of time, right?
Can you wait for that
And
long?
Exactly. That's the question.
When we spoke to the families, it's the little things. It's taking out the trash. It's, getting groceries out of the car. And to me, I don't worry about those things. Right. But to hear that the kids and the mom and these families, those little things are struggles every day.
Because they're worried about getting hit by a stray bullet.
Yeah. And that to me is crazy that you can't move, and this is your life every day.
Because it was really important to all of us to hear directly from the people in these communities about how they're affected, and really important to hear from kids growing up in this environment, kids who are doing the right things in spite of their circumstances, kids who are focused on college, focused on their grades, kids who are involved in all of these extracurriculars, but even they, and Tracy, you led this discussion, they deal with the threat of violence every day, at home, on the street, on the way to school. And I think that was a really eye-opening conversation that I'm glad we were able to have.
When you watch our news or anyone's news, youth violence is so pervasive, it almost feels like it's happening everywhere, and all of the kids are involved. But what we found in our work is that there's really a small number of kids who are participating in illegal activity in this city. So we wanted to know, how are the kids who are doing the right things, who are focused on college, who are focused on graduating from high school, how are they functioning in this environment? So we sat down to talk to them about it.
They're not officially ordered yet.
For many of DC's youth, the Deanwood Recreation Center in Northeast is a safe place, one these teens say they desperately need.
Mass incarceration has very obvious effects in DC.
They're part of a media program run by some of the city's legendary broadcasters. Kids before them have gone on to earn full college scholarships, breaking generational cycles of poverty.
It's like inspiring because he finished college.
The center is also a break from what's happening outside these walls, where ongoing gun crime blasts away any feeling of safety for the people who live here. The kids sat down with News 4 to talk about it.
It makes you anxious all the time because, you never know what can happen.
These teens, sisters Jessica and Jasmine, siblings Naya and Aaron, Giovanni and Jordan, live in different neighborhoods and go to different schools, but many of them tell a similar story about what and whom they've lost to gun violence.
I would say that gun violence has definitely deprived me of my youth.
Have any of you lost a friend to gun violence?
Yeah.
She was on the cheerleading team. I just know she got shot.
One of my classmates last year was at a 7-Eleven and got shot.
I lost a friend last school year who got killed right outside his home.
After there's gun violence and you've lost someone at school, what is the feeling for you after that?
When it hits so close to home, it just leaves like a sense of fear over everyone. You shouldn't have to feel that way as a teenager in DC.
Many of these students live in Wards 7 and 8, the ones most impacted by gun-related violence in the district. A problem so pervasive, some were surprised by my next question.
Have any of you heard gunshots before?
Yes. Every day. And I'm so not desensitized to it because I'm aware of how horrible this issue is, but it's like, here goes another one.
Even in school should feel like a safe place, but in school you still have to stay paranoid. Because when we get out of school at 3:30, you don't know if a gunshot gonna go off because people beefing.
Jasmine lives in Anacostia and says she's been aware of gun violence as long as she can remember.
The first day of school in 3rd grade, we just got off the bus. A man got shot right in front of us. All I knew was to just run. Didn't stand there in fear. I knew what to do. It's a shame that I know what to do when I hear those bullets and I see that gun come out.
Like so many kids their age, these teens are focused on their studies, applying to college, dreaming of their careers, maybe even one in journalism.
I'm one of the best in our mass media academy, one of the best photographers you ever meet in your career.
But we learned they're achieving those dreams despite a near constant fear for their safety.
How many of you feel safe inside of your home? How many of you feel safe outside of your home in your neighborhood? How many of you feel safe at school? Is there anywhere that you all feel safe? Is there anywhere that you feel protected?
Primarily just at home.
Everything from outside comes in. There's people with bullets going through their windows, and that's literally our last resort for safety.
This sounds weird, but I feel safest in my bathroom because I know a bullet can't come through the wall. On holidays like 4th of July and New Year's, when those bullets start ringing, I have to either hide in my hallway or in the bathroom because those are the only two places in the house I know where I won't be hit.
Earlier this year, these teens sat down with some city leaders to tell their stories and ideas for what they say could help, like more programs for kids through recreation centers, opportunities for employment, and the transportation to get them there.
We just need more programs for young black males, I feel like. Because as me growing up, I used to go to the Boys and Girls Club, but just a lot of people, like a lot of young black males don't have that luxury of going to a Boys and Girls Club and having that one counselor, one teacher that they're close with. I feel like that's something that the young black males need right now.
Do you feel like this city has failed you?
In DC, you make it how you want to make it. Like, but if you hang around people that are going to push you to do the things that you want to do, then you could be successful.
You said that you do feel like you've been failed. Why?
The young people that are working hard and making something out of themselves always are also a part of those front pages where, you know, they're losing their lives doing what they're supposed to do, coming home from work, their extracurriculars. The things that are out of our control and in their hands have not been managed well.
My hope is that the people who make decisions in this city will see this series and take something away from it. If they hadn't considered it, that this will be an impactful way for them to see all of these stories and what all of these Washingtonians are dealing with, and hopefully sit with it and then come together to start to do some work.
This isn't just about these bad stories, it's about finding solutions, and that's our ultimate goal.
This is not the end of the series. We're going to keep this going. I mean, there's tons of stories out there to be told, and we want to look at solutions. We want to look at people who are doing the right thing and who are making a difference in their communities. So we want to hear from people out there about what are the good things that are happening in the communities that are actually making change.